So the title of the song is called Patlas George's Traveling Song. It was composed by my son here, Patlas, when he was probably about 5 or 6 years old. Our ancestors, they traveled, they call it ancestral highways out here in the west coast and through the rivers. You know, we're all canoe people, cedar people, they say. We as West Shore Canoe family, you know, we share the song in a good way with you all. Ashka.
The story of American rivers began in 1973 when a group of concerned citizens worried about the destruction of our nation's last free-flowing rivers decided to take action. From these humble roots, we have grown into one of the nation's most influential river conservation organizations, and together with our supporters and partners, we've protected thousands of river miles, restored critical habitat for endangered fish and wildlife, and secured clean water for millions of people. All of this was possible because of you. For 50 years, your support has powered our work to protect the source of all life, our rivers. And today, our momentum has never been stronger. In the next decade, we will protect 1 million miles of rivers in the United States, remove thousands of dams, ensure every community has clean water, and champion a powerful movement to safeguard our rivers so they can provide habitat and water for all of us. Because life depends on rivers.
Hello everyone, I'm Pallavi Fartyal, Board Chair of American Rivers. Welcome to today's event to celebrate 50 years of success at American Rivers and the launch of our new vision for the future. That video we just watched is so inspiring to me. 50 years of achievements for our rivers, the rivers that provide our drinking water, grow our food, and sustain our spirits. For me, rivers represent home. Where I grew up in India, we would routinely travel along a river called the Gala to go in and out of my tiny town. And whenever I returned to the region, seeing the Gala River always signified homecoming. I know each of you has a special river in your own life, your own unique relationship with water, whether it's about your health, your family, your favorite place. I want to thank you for being here today, because it's people like you who have made the great work of American Rivers possible over the past 5 decades. A story began in 1973, where a group of conservationists, policy experts, and river lovers, alarmed by the rate at which rivers were being dammed and destroyed, decided to create an organization to protect our nation's last free-flowing rivers. At a meeting in Denver, somebody threw $10 on the table, and another, until there was a small pile of money. American Rivers was born out of that, which has led to some truly remarkable victories for rivers. From the Cahaba to the Columbia, from the Filth to the Flathead, from the Mississippi to the Madison, from Yampa to Yellowstone. Our work has touched all of the 3 million rivers across our nation. No organization can achieve this level of impact American Rivers has enjoyed without consistent support from dedicated people who believe in its mission. Whether you have been a member for 50 years or 5 months, a heartfelt thank you for standing by us to protect wild rivers, restore damaged rivers, and conserve clean water for people and nature. The health of rivers across the country has improved because of you and the thousands of staff, partners, board members, donors, volunteers, and allies who believe in this work. Today, you'll hear from 2 of American River's earliest leaders, Mike Fremont and Rafe Pomerantz. They were both at that first meeting in Denver, and they will reflect on our origins. Then, you will hear from American River's president, Tom Kiernan, who will speak to the unique moment we are in right now, and how we are increasing our impact to create transformational change and unite a powerful movement for rivers. And then you'll get to meet staff from around the country, highlighting 4 bold goals we are pursuing in the coming decade. Finally, we'll share how you can be part of this exciting new chapter for the organization. We invite you to ask questions throughout the event using the chat function. Speaking on behalf of the entire board of directors, we couldn't be more proud of this organization's track record, or more excited about where American Rivers is going. And in the spirit of that first meeting in Denver 50 years ago, I invite you to put some money on the table today. If you're inspired by what you hear, please consider making a donation. You can follow the link on your screen. So now, I'd like to introduce you to 2 of the founders of American Rivers, Mike Fremont and Rafe Pomerantz. Mike grew up along Ohio's Little Miami River. He has been a canoe racer and conservationist for most of his life. Now, at 100 years old, he's still canoeing and fighting for rivers. After helping start our organization, Rafe went to serve in leadership roles at Friends of the Earth, World Resources Institute, and as Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Environmental and Development under President Clinton.
We were canoe racers. We were interested in racing canoes. We were tough young guys. He was fixing my car. He said, "Do you know what those guys are doing to your river?" I said, "What do you mean, our river?" He said, "Well, you guys work out where you play." I said, "What are they doing?" Well, he said, "If you get out of your damn canoe long enough to find out, you might want to do something about it."
On the one hand, I was learning how to paddle up in West Virginia. I was inspired by the conservation end of things, and there was no organization focused on protecting more miles, getting more miles into the wild scenic river system. Somebody said, "Well, let's have a meeting. Let's go to Denver and have a meeting." And that was it. Post Earth Day, a lot of interest in environmental protection of all important areas. It was in the atmosphere. Our meeting was to fill a certain niche. And as I say, it was really about expanding the wild scenic river system in our minds at that time.
We sat very informally on the floor, and there were river guides from California there. There were people from all over the country, 33. I counted them. And we were proud of that. It was just a couple of days. And we thought we've done something, established a national organization. We had small successes across the country at that time. People who just loved having a special river and helping bring it along, clean it, and get people out on it, using it. It's a lot of fun to do.
I was there at the very, very beginning, and now it's 50 years later. That's pretty incredible. To know that the organization has a great reputation, a great track record, it's kind of pride in the institution.
I'm Tom Kiernan, President of American Rivers, and I want to thank all of you for joining us here today. I also want to thank Mike and Rafe for their founding of American Rivers and their remarks today. It's wonderful to have them join this program. And it's also great to stand on the shoulders of their work 50 years ago in creating and launching American Rivers. Thank you both and all the co-founders for that. I also want to thank Pallavi. She is an extraordinary chair of the board for American Rivers, a wonderful partner for me and a great conservation leader. So Pallavi, thank you for all of your time and wisdom and support for American Rivers. As Pallavi mentioned, we have accomplished so much these last 50 years, but the challenges that our rivers face are growing dramatically. And I want to talk about those because while we have made the progress in the last 50 years, the challenges are new and significant. First off, pollution. We are seeing increases in pollution in our rivers. And this isn't from factories that the Clean Water Act dealt with. Our rivers are no longer on fire. That's great. However, we are seeing stormwater runoff coming off of our city streets. We're seeing a lot more runoff off of our agricultural fields. And we need new solutions to deal with that additional pollution in our river. Second, we've got dams and habitat destruction hammering our rivers throughout this country. And we need to address that because we're seeing fish and other freshwater species going extinct at twice the rate of other species. The third main new challenge that we're seeing in our rivers, climate change. We're seeing much more severe floods throughout the country and more severe droughts throughout the country. And we need to figure out ways, and we have some of these ways, to make our rivers more resilient to climate change. And the fourth main challenge that we're seeing to our rivers, continued environmental injustices, where communities of color and tribal nations are disproportionately harmed by polluted rivers and damaged rivers. At American Rivers, we're going to take these challenges head on. So in the next 50 years, first, we're going to protect 1 million miles of rivers throughout the country. That's about a third of all river miles. And we're going to do it through, yes, wild and scenic designations and other similar designations of relatively healthy rivers, but we're also going to be restoring damaged rivers and then protecting those rivers. So again, the first goal, protecting 1 million miles of rivers. The second goal, removing 30,000 dams in this country. We need to remove these dams to reconnect our rivers so that fish and other species are able to migrate up and down our rivers. The best way to restore a river is to remove a dam and reconnect that river. The third main goal is to clean up our water in our rivers for everyone, everywhere. Again, while the Clean Water Act was effective in dealing with point sources, we're seeing these non-point sources, whether it's the stormwater runoff or agricultural runoff, that we need to address in these coming 50 years. And then our last big goal, pulling together all of our partners and coalescing and championing a strong, powerful, protective river movement in this country. I'm pretty energized by these big ideas and these goals, and I hope you are too. But also know that we're going to keep pursuing these goals in the same collaborative, pragmatic, results-oriented way as American Rivers has done for the last 50 years. You will also see a new look for American Rivers, a new tagline. Life depends on rivers. That's clear, crisp, accurate, and it's something we all can stand behind. Life depends on rivers. It also speaks to the urgency of the work that we have before us. You're also going to see a new logo, a logo that is inclusive of our work, yes, in wild, mountainous areas, but also in urban areas where people live, and we need to restore those rivers. I'm now pleased and proud to have 4 of our great staff go into a little bit more detail about these goals. Dr. Mel Lewis, Megan Quinn, David Morick, and Jamie Segarin are all going to speak to these 4 goals. I thank them, and I thank all of you for being a part of this program. Thank you.
Okay, that's better. Hi, I'm Dr. Mel Michelle Lewis, joining you from Piscataway and Susquehannock Land, Baltimore Inner Harbor.
I'm here on the banks of the Willamette River near downtown Portland, Oregon, which is also the ancestral homelands of the Clackamas, Cowlitz, Multnomah, and many other tribal nations.
I'm here at the Upper Truckee River, which is on the ancestral lands of the Washoe tribe located in current-day South Lake Tahoe.
I'm here in Washington, D.C., right next to the Anacostia River, also known as the ancestral lands of the Anacostans and Piscataway people.
Let me think about that for a minute. So the why, it's my river.
My life. Oh gosh.
My favorite river is Fowl River, at the end of the Mobile River and Tennesaw Delta. I grew up on that river, getting really dirty, catching lots of fish, and enjoying our catch as meals with my grandparents, my family. That is just one of the places that I feel most at home.
My favorite river is the Severn River in Annapolis, Maryland. That's where I got to first learn how to kayak with my dad.
Being on a river makes me feel calm and connected to nature. The benefits of being out in nature, and in particular by water bodies, is well documented and is extremely important given the hectic times in which we find ourselves these days.
Yeah, I like the getting dirty part.
So rivers are essential to all life. The magic of rivers is the fact that so many species depend on the river itself and the lands along it. From salmon to bears and otters, it's really the lifeblood to the web of life.
Over 2 million people in the United States don't have access to clean water, and that's not right.
I think the biggest threat is the lack of understanding and apathy about the values that rivers provide all of us. And if we can build on the success stories where communities have protected or restored their rivers and educate others about it, I think that's the biggest contribution that we can make to countering the real threats to rivers. So the biggest threats to rivers are many of those that have been threatening rivers for decades. Dams, diversions, poorly planned development, unsustainable logging practices, mining. But on top of all of that, we also are seeing the effects of climate change in the form of bigger droughts, floods, catastrophic wildfires. And so we really need to take action to counter those threats if we're going to protect the values that rivers provide.
There are challenges right now to weaken certain provisions of the Clean Water Act that ultimately impact your access to water quality, as well as accessibility and availability to enjoy these great places like the Anacostia River.
Our rivers are in trouble because climate change is drastically impacting and changing precipitation patterns, impacting river flows nationwide, and in particular is reducing snowpack that supports rivers in the American West.
What gives me hope? Well, in addition to my young kids, I think what also gives me hope are the activists and local community river groups all over the country that I have the pleasure of working with. And it's a really incredibly diverse and growing movement of people who care about rivers, who are fighting for their backyard rivers and want to see them protected.
What's most exciting to me is American River's environmental justice work, addressing the disproportionate impact communities of color and tribal nations face from polluted rivers, flooding, lack of clean water, and harmful policies.
Most exciting to me is the fact that the damages that dams do to rivers is finally becoming more widely acknowledged and accepted.
American Rivers will make an impact by protecting 1 million miles of rivers across the country. And when we're successful, that gives us the best chance to protect nature, which is essential to all of us.
We will make an impact by removing 30,000 dams by 2050. It's the fastest way to restore habitat and bring a river back to life. That goal is a massive goal, and it's going to take all of us coming together to remove these dams. Tribal nations, local groups, states, agencies, all of us will have to work together to remove those 30,000 dams.
We will make an impact by ensuring clean water for everyone, by engaging Republicans and independents and Democrats across the aisle to really put forward solutions that are forward-thinking, resource-backed, and really important and powerful to create the change that we need to improve the health of every water body across the country.
American Rivers has always been known for our willingness and ability to work with local advocates and partners from both private and public sectors to do what's best for rivers and the people and wildlife that depend on them. We know that the challenges to rivers are increasing dramatically. We need an even stronger river movement to choose and face those challenges. We will make an impact by uniting a movement for rivers that values every voice and has the power to drive change to make rivers healthier and water cleaner. When many people, each in their own way, in their own place, pull together toward a common goal, we can achieve transformational change.
Thank you very much, Jamie and Mel and Megan and David. Very much appreciate your remarks as we dedicate ourselves to these 4 ambitious goals of protecting 1 million miles of rivers in this country, removing 30,000 dams, cleaning our water for everyone, everywhere, and championing a much more powerful river movement in this country. These are ambitious goals. They're also exciting and necessary goals. Our rivers need American Rivers to have this ambition. We also need all of you, our partners, our supporters. I thank you for being a part of this program. I thank you for supporting American Rivers. If you're not yet a member, please join American Rivers. If you can, please increase your support for American Rivers. You should see on the screen an opportunity to give. And the only way we can step up our game, the only way American Rivers can scale our work to meet the challenges we're facing is together with all of you, our supporters, our members. We've got a lot of exciting, necessary work ahead of us. And we can only do that work, we can only accomplish it together. So I'm going to end this program as staff know I often end emails or remarks with the phrase, onward together. thank you all very much for being partners with us at American Rivers.